Testing. Good afternoon, Benton Harbor. I am virtual, but I would like everyone to make their way to their seats if they could. Good afternoon, Benton Harbor. I am virtual, but I would like everyone to make their way to their seats if they could. There's feedback. I'm not sure if I'm the only person that hears it, but Rhonda's shaking her head, she hears it too. So I'm not sure if we're supposed to hear the feedback, but we do hear feedback. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. So good afternoon, Benton Harbor. We're happy to be here both in person and virtual. Thank you for your patience as we waited for all commissioners to be present and get adjusted. As chair of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 5:04 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they're currently using, please visit our social media at Redistricting Michigan to find the link for viewing on YouTube. Our live stream today includes closed captioning. Closed captioning, ASL interpretation, and Spanish and Bengali translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at michigan.gov/MICRC for viewing at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those transcriptions will be made available and posted on michigan.gov/MICRC, along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by both the commission and the public. Members of the media who have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, our Communications and Outreach Director for the Commission. He can be contacted at woodse3@michigan.gov. For the purposes of the public watching and the public record, I will turn to Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present.
Commissioners, when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call that you are attending remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, please disclose where you are attending the meeting from by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending. I'll start with Doug Clark.
Present. And I'm attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Juanita Curry.
Present.
Anthony Eid.
Present.
Kellum.
Present.
Commissioner Kellum, can you state where you're attending from?
And attending remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Thank you. Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Flett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
Elsie Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella. Present. Janice Follett. Present. Aaron Wagner. Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
Commissioners are present and there is a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Without objection, I would like to ask Executive Director Hammersmith to provide a presentation on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Ms. Hammersmith.
Thank you, Commissioner Kellum, and thanks everybody for being here with us today. We really appreciate your attendance. And I just want to share a little bit about the commission to acquaint you a little bit more about this group of people and their work for the state of Michigan. So what is redistricting? Every 10 years following the census, the district lines are drawn across America to accurately reflect the population changes. The process of drawing district lines is known as redistricting. And for this commission, they will be drawing 13 Michigan congressional districts with about 775,000 people in them, 38 Michigan Senate districts with about 265,000 people, and 110 Michigan House Senates with about 91,600 people in each of the House districts. So this commission has 6 purposes and responsibilities in general. First, they are the sole entity for drawing the district lines. No other body, no other individuals have responsibility for this process. They operate in an impartial and transparent manner that instills integrity in the redistricting process. And their public outreach represents fairness, awareness, transparency, and engagement. And they are seeking to get 10,000 distinct public comments throughout the state of Michigan to help them with their work. They also exercise their constitutional right to adopt the 3 maps for each type of district while complying with the federal and the state constitutions. They ensure integrity, public availability, and accountability for the data and for public comments and for communities of interest. And they share in compliance with the criteria. So here are the criteria. These criteria are in rank order. So first, they have to meet equal population and adhere to the Voting Rights Act, which provides that there cannot be any discrimination, racial discrimination, ethnic discrimination, or language discrimination. The districts must be geographically contiguous. They must reflect diversity across our state of Michigan and the communities of interest. The 4th and 5th criteria include partisanship, so there cannot be any disproportionate advantage to a political party or to an incumbent elected official or a candidate. 6, they have to reflect consideration of county, city, and township boundaries. And 7th, the districts must be reasonably compact. It's a tall order. The commissioners are committed to the goal of making sure that these criteria are met in the rank order that they're mandated in the Michigan Constitution. So what is a community of interest? A community of interest may include, but isn't limited to, populations that share cultural or historical characteristics or economic interests. That is the definition that's in the Michigan Constitution. Also, the Constitution states that communities of interest do not include relationships with political parties, incumbents, or candidates. So what would we want to know about a community of interest? In order for commissioners to draw maps that can take into consideration communities of interest, they would like to know what name you would give your community, what's the common bond that creates your shared identity, what's the geographic area covered by your community. This is very important. We would like to see it on a map if at all possible. What governmental policies are important for your community? How would keeping your community together enhance the quality of your representation? And are there nearby areas that strengthen or weaken your community of interest? So why are we here? To listen, to hear directly from you and your public comments about your ideas to redistrict congressional, House, and Senate districts, and to listen and learn about your community of interest. So why should you care? This is a historic process. This is the first time ever that Michiganders have had a voice in the redistricting process. It empowers you to provide input for the district lines that will best represent your community. There's a model for openness and transparency, an opportunity for statewide participation for the first time ever, and we're inviting communities of interest to share with us. How can you engage? You can get email or text alerts if you sign up on our website, which is www.michigan.gov/MICRC. You can like us on Facebook at Redistricting MI. You could submit a public comment on our website or request a presentation. For those who are not tech savvy, you can mail us a letter to P.O. Box 30318 in Lansing 48909. If you need information, you can call 1-833-U-DRAW or 1-833-968-3729 for information. You can attend our weekly meetings that are on YouTube. You can watch them on our website if you've missed something and want to go back and look at another meeting. And you can give public comment at any meeting or public hearing of this commission. We really want to hear from the people across the state of Michigan. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll turn it back to you, Commissioner Kellum.
Thank you so much, Sue. We appreciate you providing that information to about the MICRC to today's meeting. Moving on in our agenda, we'll now have the adoption of the agenda. And as a reminder to the public watching, you can view the agenda at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. I would now entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by, is that Commissioner Witches or was that Commissioner Lett?
Oh, this is Dustin.
Dustin, okay, I couldn't catch your voice, so my apologies. Motion made by Commissioner Witches. May I have a second?
Second. That's Steve.
That's Lett. Second made by Commissioner Lett. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, it's moved and second that the agenda be adopted. All in favor? Michigan Department of State staff, can we do a roll call vote?
Commissioners, please indicate your vote with a yes or no. I will call commissioners' names in alphabetical order, starting with Commissioner Orton.
Yes.
MC Rothorn.
Yes.
Rebecca Satella.
Yes.
Janice Villette.
Yes.
Richard Weiss.
Yes.
Dustin Witches.
Yes.
Doug Clark.
Yes.
Juanita Curry.
Yes.
Anthony Eade.
Yes.
Brittany Kellum.
Yes.
Rhonda Lang.
Yes.
Steve Lett.
Yes.
With unanimous support, the motion carries.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the review and
Madam Chairman,
yes.
I would like to make a motion at this time to adjust our agenda going forward, beginning with the next meeting, not this meeting. And if I could have a second, I would speak to it.
I'll second it.
Okay, what was the motion for?
Okay, this will be a motion to amend the rules of procedure, specifically Section 8, Order of Business and Agenda. I would be moving to move the unfinished business and new business, which are currently listed in the policy and procedures as number 11 and number 13, up to number 4 and 5. And then we would have review and approval of minutes as number 6, Executive Director Report number 7, General Counsel Report number 8, Communications and Outreach Director Report number 9, MDOS updates number 10, Public Comment number 11, Correspondence number 12, Announcements number 13, and finally adjournment. There would have to be a break inserted at an appropriate point. The reason for suggesting this is to bring items that require votes to the top of the agenda. We had an issue at our last meeting with the loss of a quorum, and for the reason is really unimportant, people had to leave for various reasons. People weren't here for various reasons, all of them legitimate. There's no problem with that. But in order to facilitate the quorum and the voting, I think that moving it in this manner would allow people, if they had to leave, to be able to vote and then leave without having us, the commission in total, not being able to act. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lett. So we have a motion made by Commissioner Lett, second made by Commissioner Weiss. Is there any discussion on the actual debate or discussion on the motion? And then Vice Chair Zatella, please help me with in-person hands. I see that we have Commissioner Lang's hand virtually, so I'm going to call on her, but should there be any in-person hands, Vice Chair, please assist and support that. Commissioner Lang, you have the floor.
My only question, I have no problem with that motion. My only question would be about the public comment and moving it to the end. There are some times we have hard stop and there are times that our business runs over. So I think personally that we should still keep the public comment to the front because they are allowed to give their comments, and then move everything else as recommended would be my suggestion, but I'm open to hearing everybody else's thoughts, but that would be my only concern is the public comment aspect of it.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. Mine as well. I think the purpose of public comment is so that they can actively in real time weigh in on decisions that, you know, we've told them that we were going to discuss in our business. So I think that's the logic, but I want to hear from General Counsel and then Commissioner Clark, you can share after her. General Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to the commission and guests. Yes, my observation is also, and I know we've discussed this in the past, that generally public comment occurs prior to voting so that members of the public have the opportunity to opine prior to an action being taken on an issue so that their comment can be considered if it has the intent of influencing an action or at minimum letting the commission know their thoughts. Holding public comment at the end really only provides an opportunity to opine on completed actions without that ability to let their feelings be known and their opinions to be known in advance. Thank you. And certainly the commission has the ability to set their agenda as they see fit. I just wanted to highlight that, that issue for you.
Thank you, General Counsel. Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, I'd like to put a motion forward to amend Steve's motion and move the public comment up to the beginning as Rhonda had suggested. I would also, as part of that motion, like to have the adoption of the agenda prior to any presentations. As I envision them, they're part of the agenda for the day. So in today's agenda, item 4 would precede item 3 before we move forward with any presentations. So those 2 items.
Second.
The second made by Commissioner Witches.
You got it.
We have a comment here by Commissioner Rothorn.
Thank you.
I think I see the spirit of this, and it makes sense to me because we're talking about future agenda items, right? We're talking about future agendas, not necessarily today, but including today. Is that true?
That would not include today because we're not ready for it today.
Excellent.
It would start with our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothorn, for that clarifying question. Is there any other discussion or debate on the?
There are no other hands raised in the room.
Okay. For clarification, can we restate the amended motion that's on the floor?
Do you want to restate it, Juliana, or do you want me to?
I have the motion to amend is to move the public comment period back up on the agenda. And that any presentations appear on the agenda after adoption of the agenda is the motion to amend I have. Clarity would be where to move the public comment portion up on the agenda. If that would be prior to number 4, before the unfinished business, or where Commissioner Clark, you were proposing to move that toward.
I was proposing to move it to where it had been previously.
Okay.
Keep it where it was.
All right, Commissioner Lang.
Can I make a suggestion? When you say where it was previously, could we say after adoption of the agenda? Because then we know those are the agenda topics and then the public comment. Can I make that suggestion?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe that's where it was. So yeah, right after the adoption of the agenda, we'll hear the public.
All right, commissioners, you heard the motion as stated. And now we're ready for voting. So all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. And make sure I can hear you. If you're virtuals, take yourself off mute.
Nay.
Okay.
We have
Yeah.
Commissioner Kellum. This is Commissioner Zatella. We have 1 nay in the room. Everybody else was an aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Satella. The ayes prevail. The motion is adopted. The amended motion is adopted. And so now we'll return to the main motion to approve future meeting agendas as amended. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay.
Nay.
Once again, Commissioner Kellum, we have 1 nay in the room and the remainder are all ayes.
Thank you, Commissioner Satella. The ayes prevail and the motion is adopted. Thank you, commissioners. We're now going to move to the review and approval of minutes. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from the June 28th, 2021 Redistricting Process Committee meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the meetings from the June 28th, 2021 committee meeting, which are posted on redistrictingmichigan.org.
So moved. This is Commissioner Witches.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches. Can I have a second?
Second by Rothorn.
Second made by Commissioner Rothorn. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we will now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 28th, 2021 Redistricting Process Committee meeting. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The motion is adopted. We'll now review and approve the meeting minutes from the June 29th, 2021 Commission meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the June 29th, 2021 meeting, which are posted on redistrictingmichigan.org.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Rothorn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Commissioner Lett. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 29th, 2021 Commission meeting. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The motion is adopted. We will now review and approve the meeting minutes from the June 29th, 2021 public hearing in Muskegon. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the June 29th, 2021 public hearing, which are posted on redistrictingmichigan.org. I think I have a motion made by Commissioner Clark. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Commissioner Lett. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 29th, 2021 public hearing in Muskegon. All in favor, commissioners, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The motion is adopted. We'll now review and approve the meeting minutes from the June 30th, 2021 commission meeting. If you'll note on page 4, for purposes of the public record, present, the word present is used twice. It's a duplication. So that is an error and it should be struck. So before I call for a motion, I want to indicate that for public record. Page 4, the use of the word present is in duplication. Now I can call for a motion for those minutes, June 30th, 2021 commission meeting. A motion for those minutes to be approved with that correction.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Lett. Is there a second?
Second. Commissioner Witches.
Second made by Commissioner Witches. Your voice is morphed sometime. My apologies. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 30th, 2021 commission meeting. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. The ayes prevail and the motion is adopted. Thank you, commissioners. And we'll now review and approve the meeting minutes from July 1st, 2021. It's a commission meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the July 1st, 2021 commission meeting, which are also posted on redistrictingmichigan.org.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Rothorn. Is there a second?
Second by Commissioner Orton.
Second made by Commissioner Orton. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes for July 1st, 2021, which is a commissioner meeting. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail and the motion is adopted. We'll now review and approve our final set of meeting minutes for this session, July 1st, 2021, public hearing in Grand Rapids. I would entertain a motion to adopt or motion to approve the minutes from July 1st, 2021, public hearing in Grand Rapids, which are also posted on redistrictingmichigan.org.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Lett and the second is made by Commissioner Clark. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, we'll now vote on the motion to adopt the minutes of the July 1st, 2021 public hearing. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The motion is adopted. Thank you, commissioners, for approving and getting through all of those minutes. We'll now move through our agenda to the public comment portion. Without objection, I would like to ask General Counsel Pastula to provide a presentation on the public comment guidelines. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Ms. Pastula.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. For the benefit of the viewing public, the commission will take in-person public comments first, followed by remote public comment. The time limit for each public comment speaker is 2 minutes. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. If any person disrupts the orderly progress of this meeting or refuses to comply with applicable MICRC guidelines and rules, the chairperson may rule that person out of order and/or order their removal from this meeting. A reminder to please provide your public comment and/or submit your proposed maps in our public comment portal, which is available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, General Counsel. Without objection, we will now begin the public comment pertaining to agenda topics only portion of our meeting. Hearing no objection, we'll now proceed with public comment pertaining to agenda topics. A little bit of a reminder, individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. You'll step to the nearest microphone when I call your number. You'll have 2 minutes to address the commission. And please conclude your remarks when you hear the timer. I believe there will also be a visual timer available to you for you to keep track. With those reminders in mind, I will call number one. Number one, you can approach the microphone and provide in-person public commentary to the commission.
Thank you. My name is Ezra Scott. I am a Berrien County Commissioner, and I just wanted to thank all of the people here who came to Berrien County to inform us. And I'd like to thank you for all of the work that you're doing. It's a tough job, but please hurry. The reason I say that is I'm a little concerned because I'm a Berrien County Commissioner, and now I am running for Congress, and I don't know what my district is. I think I do. But the problem is that I don't mind about drawing the district lines. There's no possible way for us as candidates to even get petitions signed because we don't know the number. My suggestion would have been to redraw the lines, but to leave the number the same. I know there are 14 districts. We're getting rid of one. So whatever district that we end up getting rid of, right where we're located up here against the lake, we can't go any further that way. We can only go this way. So that would be my only comment. And this is absolutely no fault of your own. This was a pandemic that hit us. This was a census thing that didn't get done in time because of the pandemic. So it has nothing to do with you, but please hurry. That's my only comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ezra, for taking the time to address the commission. We appreciate your commentary. 2.
Good afternoon, Honorable Commission. Thank you very much for hearing me. My name is Elena Olke, and I step in here to express similar concerns as my understanding that Michigan Supreme Court has denied the extension deadline on July 9th for the results of redistricting, provided the census comes in September. I ran for United States Congress, District 6 in 2020. And at this time, I do not comment whether I do run or not, but my concern is for everyone who runs for office, as people do rely upon your effort to know which district and which map and how many constituents that they will be serving in the future. So I would certainly encourage the Honorable Board to consider expediting as much as possible the effort to make sure that our candidates are empowered with the proper knowledge to make proper decisions as far as running for elected office. My second consideration is when I ran, I realized that I'm running for the district with almost 1 million people. And my biggest concern was, how do I service all the 1 million people so everyone feels that they have been heard and serviced? So with that said, when you do redraw the map lines, please consider the fact that we would like as candidates, or somebody who steps in to service all our constituents to be able to do so and to reach out to everyone. I'm not sure if it's on your power or if it's something that you can consider, but to make sure that the district is so comprised as we can adequately service each one of our constituents. That would be my wish and my recommendation. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena, for taking the time to address the commission. We appreciate you. 3.
Good afternoon. I'm Bishop Melvin Burton, and I'm a pastor in Benton Harbor. I'm also a bishop in the Church of God in Christ, which is the largest Pentecostal denomination in the world. My concern is how in the world did Michigan gain population, but we're losing a seat in the House. And when you do redistrict, consider those urban areas that have not been represented, that have not been an effective voting bloc because of the redistricting in the past. That's my comment for the night.
Bishop, we appreciate you taking the time to address the commission. 4.
Hello, my name is Jan Baumgrass, and I am a reasonably recent moving to Berrien County, so I'm going to speak more about the area I came from, because I would like you to give some consideration to what you're going to do about communities of interest. I came from Midland, but I believe there's a lot to hear that's the same. Trying to define a community of interest is easy. Trying to draw districts based on them, I think, is very, very difficult. I've lived many places in the state of Michigan, including the very sparsely populated northeast part of the state, and I believe there's a community of interest there. I don't think there is a community of interest in many parts of this state. The gentleman ahead of me mentioned Benton Harbor. Benton Harbor and St. Joseph have very little in common, but they're right across the river from each other. So your challenge is to figure out how to keep these two very different communities of interest and draw a district. But since I have lived many places in the state, I'm hoping I can give you some insight on making that easier. We have many, many differences, but we have many, many more things in common. One thing I found everywhere I lived is that no matter whether you're a farmer or a blue collar worker or a white collar worker, which is what I was, you have a family and you want to feed that family. You want to take care of that family. You want that family to be safe. We differ only in how we want to achieve those goals. So in my opinion, the community of interest is the state of Michigan. I think if you guys look at it that way, you'll find that drawing lines is considerably easier, and that perhaps we can stop these artificial divides that I believe the politicians are creating for their own benefit. I don't know my neighbors well because we moved right during the pandemic, and as you know very well, the limits have been lifted only recently, so I don't know many people here. But the street I lived on in Midland was a short street, and we had 50% Democrats and 50% Republican signs, and we all liked each other, we all got along, and all we cared about was our families. So thank you very much for your service. I hope your job will be well done.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for taking the time to share your thoughts with the commission. 5.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay Eddy. I am an organizer for the state of Michigan. And I'm here to ask if you can move expeditiously due to the fact that we have candidates and we don't know the area, and we need to be able to move effectively in the area. But we don't have the area, so it just makes things a little bit harder. And I just want to encourage you to take a look at the urban communities as well while making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, for taking the time to speak to the commission today. 6.
Hello, my name is Joey Andrews. I've been at a couple of these meetings so far, so some of you guys might remember me, but this is my hometown, so I absolutely had to come to this one and welcome you guys to the area. I'm here tonight wearing 2 different hats. The first one as a member of this community, the St. Joseph and Benton Harbor area. I wanted to again encourage you to consider that lakeshore communities like St. Joseph, Benton Harbor, and the communities north and south are very much communities of interest that very much deserve their own representation that often differs quite a bit from what you might see in the rest of the county. I don't know how long you guys are in town, but I think if you took a quick drive around Berrien County, you would notice the cultural community divides very quickly. And so I want to just encourage you to consider that and also make sure you stop at one of the great breweries or wineries in our fine county while you're here. The second hat that I'm here tonight wearing is with the Michigan State AFL-CIO. And as the West Michigan organizer for the AFL, we represent in Southwest Michigan around 70,000 union workers, 10,000 of whom are in Berrien County. And we just want to encourage the commission to consider partisan fairness when they're drawing the districts, that when it comes time to vote, the person that gets the most votes should win the election. And while that seems elementary over the last decade because of gerrymandering, despite the fact that in 2018, Gretchen Whitmer won the state by a large margin, did not win the majorities in the House or the Senate to go along with it. And I think, it is very simple. If, Republicans win by a lot, they should also, be reflected down ticket. And when Democrats win by a lot, that should be reflected down ticket. So we just want to encourage that you all consider partisan fairness highly when you're making your districts, and that, democracy depends on votes being counted and voices being heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joey, for taking the time to speak to the commission this evening. Can we hear from 7, please?
Hello, my name is Terry Treecarton, and I wanted to thank you so much all for your time and being here. I know it's got to be a lot of work, way more than I could ever imagine. So I want to say thank you so much as well. My other question is real quick was, and pardon me if this has been out there and I missed it somewhere, but as I've been looking at on some of the information here about the district shall this is on letter C on some of the questions here online. District shall reflect the state's diverse population of communities of interest. I'm just wondering if there's something that for your statistics, if that's something that where you're going to be putting these together from, and that I don't know if it's something I say. Pardon me if it's already out there and you already know where you're going to be getting it from. If it's just like meetings like this, or if it's something you're getting it from other places. I just would just something like that it'd be nice to know. I guess because it's going to be putting people into it says here with their population, so culturally, historical characteristics, economy, economic interest, those type of things. I don't know. It's just I personally, I'd like to see somewhere. Pardon me if it's already out there, but if it could be something that how that's all going to be put together as well. So yeah, all right, or you're going to find it all or something. I don't know. But you know what you're doing. So thank you so much. You do a great job.
Thank you so much, Terry. And we'll continue our meetings just like now are live. We continue to post all the documentation, everything that we're doing online. And this is a good time for the public to keep in mind that they can visit us at michigan.gov/MICRC and join in on the conversation with your peers to keep updated as to what's happening in the redistricting process. So thank you. 8, please.
Good evening. My name is Antoinette Marie Defoe, a lifelong resident of Benton Harbor, Michigan, born in Benton Harbor at Mercy Hospital when we had a hospital in Benton Harbor. And as such a delight, I found a meeting through Facebook by a classmate of mine, Barbara Watson. And I said I wanted to come out to get more information and look at the information and see what's going on, so where I will know how I can serve the best in my community. So I'm here to get more information and glad to see Edward Woods III. It's a delight to see you here. Been knowing him since he's been a little baby. So I want to do my part. Oh yeah, I want to do my part in working to make sure everything is done really in a good way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Antoinette, for coming out to share your comments with the commission and for giving our community and outreach director a warm shout out. So we have
one more thing. Oh. So 1964, first time Benton Harbor won state championship. And did it again in 65, and I have my little on because we did it again in 2018. 50 years later with the same exact score we had in 64.
Thank you, Antoinette. We have only 2 minutes per person, so I have to move on. But thank you so much for you are just full, I know, of stories and things that you could share with us. And so we Michigan Department of State staff, Sarah Reinhardt. I know we had 2 number 9s, so I'm gonna call the first number 9.
Just a little taller than you. Thank you. My name is Heather Cole. And I just want to thank the MICRC commissioners for coming here today, coming to Southwest Michigan, coming to hear the voice of our community. We really appreciate it. We don't always get these opportunities to be civically engaged. So we appreciate the opportunity to do this so close to home. I want to thank Edward Woods for helping to make this happen today. I know we had a previous virtual meeting and it was important for us to work together to bring the commission here and give everyone the opportunity to give their comments. So I work for United Way of Southwest Michigan, and United Way of Southwest Michigan works to improve the community, especially in the areas of health, financial stability, and education. Our service area includes Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties. A lot of nonprofits in this area, in this region, I would say most nonprofits in this region have the same service area. So I would really consider nonprofit providers and the people we serve to be a community of interest again in Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties together. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Heather, for taking the time to speak to the commission. Number 10, or the second number 9.
Good evening, Commission. My number is number 10, just to clarify. If there's another number 9, I don't want to get in the way. Wonderful. Well, thank you. I had an opportunity to attend the Muskegon meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I have submitted a sample map and I've submitted written testimony through the portal as well. But I did want to take an opportunity to thank you all for coming to Southwest Michigan. One of the themes that I remember from that Muskegon meeting was the community of interest in terms of lakeshore communities and the things that those communities share in common, and how important that our communities are represented appropriately, equitably, and inclusively. So I would encourage you to consider the Southwest lakeshore communities, South Haven, south through St. Joseph, all the way down to New Buffalo, and even all the way down to the Indiana border. As you decide and create your districts, especially in terms of a house district, I think that that would be something that's appropriate. And again, the theme that I heard in Muskegon was several people at that meeting shared the similar community of interest. The other thing I want to mention is I just want to say that I absolutely support the bishop's comments, and Joey Andrews, I believe it was, comments as well, in terms of as you draw maps to find, be sure that all citizens have an opportunity to be represented appropriately and included. Again, thank you for all of your work. I appreciate it greatly. And again, my comments you can view through the portal through written testimony as well. I think I said my name, didn't I? Maybe I didn't. Yep. Thank you.
You didn't say your name, but we appreciate you taking the time to address the commission and utilizing our portal. Number 11, please.
Good afternoon, Commission. My name is Shokwe Pitchford. I was a candidate in 2020 for State House, and I was able to hear from the entire 79th district and was able to bridge divides in this community like we haven't seen candidates from Benton Harbor be able to do before. And across the bridge, I was very welcomed and celebrated in St. Joe, and I want to speak briefly on behalf of a South Haven Community of Interest District. That includes Benton Harbor, St. Joe, Benton Township, and of course, South Haven. Being from the area, these communities are intertwined with each other. St. Joe and Benton Harbor are twin cities. They always have been and always will be. They have lots of crossover potential. Now, I will say we are not culturally intertwined with a lot of the rural areas where issues and constituencies have different needs and desires. Places like Coloma and Bainbridge deserve a representative, but so do Benton Harbor and South Haven. And I believe the needs of the constituencies in those two areas are different. Also, a district with the highest importance is one that is able to draw, that brings Black, white, Hispanic, and Asian American populations together to have a voice and a presence in this community. We cannot dissect and space out these issues that affect one group or another. Now, placing cities with a high minority populations in this district that is otherwise mostly homogeneous isn't tenable. And I hope we correct it, because like I said earlier, Coloma, Bainbridge, Waterville deserve a representative who understands what the farm life is like, who understand what it's like to grow up on a farm. Kids that were born in the urban areas and in the inner cities or in South Haven and some of the more affluent communities don't understand that life and can't represent them well in the state house, the state senate, or the congressional level. And I think we have to look at that when drawing these districts so we're equitable and we're bringing diversity and representation to this area. So thank you, Commission, for coming here. Thank you for coming to Benton Harbor specifically, crown jewel of this area, in my opinion. And you have a great day.
Thank you so much, Shokwe. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name, for taking the time to share with the commission. 12.
Chair, it appears we do not have a number 12 coming to the microphone right now.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to remote public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will turn the floor over to Michigan Department of State staff. And if you are on a computer, you will be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you are on the phone, a voice will say that the host would like you to speak and prompt you to press *6 to unmute. Michigan Department of State staff will introduce you. And if you're experiencing technical or audio issues and we don't hear from you from 3 to 5 seconds, we'll move to the next person in line and then return to you after they are done speaking. If your audio still does not work, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov and we will help you troubleshoot so you can participate during the next public comment period at a later hearing or meeting. At this time, I will turn the floor over to Michigan Department of State staff, Ms. Sarah Reinhardt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First up to provide virtual public comment is Susan Smith. Please allow us a moment to unmute you.
Thank you and good evening, commissioners. I'm Susan Smith, Vice President for Advocacy for the League of Women Voters of Michigan. Thank you for this opportunity to address the commission. The League of Women Voters is concerned about the challenges the commission faced in keeping a quorum during their recent meetings. As you know, the League has been observing the commission's meetings since last September. On July 8 and again on July 9th, we observed that the commission had to end their meeting earlier than planned when they lost their quorum. As a result, important items on the agenda, such as approval of the meeting schedule for July and August, could not be completed. If the commission continues to have challenges in keeping a quorum, it could have a serious impact on the commission's ability to meet its November and December deadlines for publishing and approving the required maps. According to today's meeting agenda, the commission will be discussing a memo from Executive Director Sue Hammersmith concerning prior notification of absences as one way to prevent future losses of a quorum. Over the past several months, the League and others have expressed appreciation to the commissioners for their commitment to completing their task in creating fair maps. We are confident that the commission will find a way to solve this problem and will continue to carry out their work in an effective and efficient manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, so much for taking the time to share your concerns and your comments with the commission.
Next to provide remote public comment is Michael Harrison. Please allow us one moment to unmute you. It appears Mr. Harrison may have stepped away from his computer for a moment, so we'll move on to our next participant and return to him later. Our next public comment participant is Douglas Helserman. Please allow us a moment to unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, Doug Helserman. I wanted to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That only takes a few seconds. And for some reason, you decided not to take a few seconds to pledge allegiance to our flag. But one word I want to talk to you about in that is the word republic. And to the republic for which it stands, one of the word changes that we've had in our vocabulary is our country a republic or is it a democracy? And our Constitution says that our country should be, that each state should have a Republican government. And this, what you are doing is definitely democratic as opposed to a Republican point of view, because in our country, there are senators based upon a state and House of Representatives based upon population, and both houses in the state are going to be on population, which will give the city view the one-party rule in our state eventually. Maybe not this election cycle, but it's very dangerous, I think. And just when you are doing the map, remember the rural people of our state because I think that's very important. Thank you. I don't see the time. Maybe my time is up. I don't know.
Yes, it is, Mr. Okay. Helserman.
I always go over and but I can never see the time. So, but I thank you for your time. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you for providing commentary to the commission.
Our next remote public comment participant is Mr. James Gallant. Please allow us one moment to unmute you.
Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, I can.
All righty, I'm James Gallant. Okay, for one more time for you folks, Gallant. Okay, I'm with the Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and these are my personal opinions. And I signed up for an additional 2 minutes of public comment after everybody else is done under the rules of procedure. And I'd like to thank the man for reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, which I was going to do, which freed me up with a little more time here. So I'd like to say that the draft financial document summary that you received today on your agenda by Ms. Hammersmith, it says that the EDS invoices will be reviewed and the contracts will be reviewed for compliance by the executive director and not the civil counsel. That seems like practicing law without a license. Why would the executive director do it for all the other vendors, but not for that one vendor? That's how Ms. Hammersmith has been sliding stuff in that are not asked for, kind of like when the Pledge of Allegiance, and then she slipped in the state allegiance, and then the some land acquisition thing that she just kind of slipped in there. Mr. Clark said that he did not ask for that. And you know, it's amazing that you folks just allowed Commissioner Letts to convince you to amend the bylaws without the required written notice. You got written prior notice of the actual language has to be before the meeting, right? At the prior meeting. And then he just talked you right into it, right in the fly. That's how he did it on the fly. And you know, the Secretary of State has established that there was supposed to be 2 public comments, one at the beginning of the meeting and one at the end, so that you can make an opinion before you make a decision, and then you can provide a rebuttal afterwards. And that's in your orientations at the first meeting. I don't know why you folks think that you can just change this stuff without voting. And I would ask the League of Women Voters to consider the Robert's Rules of Order and how you continuously start discussion without a motion is seconded, which is what I'm considering institutionalized bullying, because the chair has no authority to assign the floor unless you have a properly seconded motion to establish an immediately pending question. Now, you all folks all know this, and but you just continue to violate it. And I don't understand. It's like creating a culture of.
Your
like the guy
allotted 2
said.
minutes has ended, Mr. Gallant.
We will now return to Mr. Michael Harrison. Please allow us a moment to unmute you. It appears Mr. Harrison may have stepped away from his computer or is experiencing technical difficulties. And that concludes our first round of public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. Now that the first opportunity for both in-person and remote public comment has concluded, without objection, we will now hear from individuals seeking to provide a second 2-minute public comment.
Our first public comment participant is a Mr. James Gallant. Please allow us a moment to unmute you.
Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Mr. Gallant, we can hear you.
Thank you. Okay, my name is James Gallant again, and I am thoroughly, I got to tell you, just offended that my name is just repeatedly mispronounced by the commission, by your staff, and I believe that that is to get a little dog whistle to all of you folks that you work with. Maybe your voters, not politicians, folks, said we're not working with that guy, and that's why you mispronounce people's names all the time. I've seen this at our county commission in Marquette, and it happens all the time. So please properly pronounce my name so that other people, when I talk to them, they'll know what it is. And this thing about hearing no objections that is voter suppression in action. To say you're going to hear no objections and then just make a decision, the chair makes a decision unilaterally, and it refuses to allow the members and the minority members their right to vote. This is voter suppression. You can't vote. You can't vote yes. You can't abstain. You have to object. Oh, you have to be that objector again. You have to be the person that, oh, you're not a team player, right? And notice nobody objects ever. Well, I wouldn't object too if I was them, Madam Chair. But I'm objecting now from the podium. I can tell you that. And we're still talking about, in the paper it said that you have Democrats here and you have Republicans here, but we haven't really verified that that's true. And I see that you said you folks can affirm that you are, but now it's time to prove that you are, because if you're not, that means that you may have filed false statements on your applications. And some of you said choose not to answer on some of your applications. And some of the random pool of applicants now, the other 200 people, they have it too. I went down the list, just randomly looked at them, and some of them say choose not to answer when it's a required question for your conflict of interest. I think that there's some big problems here. There's some ancillary proceedings going on, and you folks are just kind of fluffing your way through.
Mr. Gallant, that concludes your 2 minutes. Thank you to everyone pardon me?
Sorry, Madam Chair. I said that concludes our second round of public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. That concludes our public comment this afternoon, commissioners, and to those watching and those present. At this time, we'll move to unfinished business. Moving to unfinished business, agenda item 6A, which is the MICRC meeting calendar. Without objection, we'll have Executive Director Hammersmith provide updated information on the MICRC calendar and schedule of activities. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Executive Director Hammersmith.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. Provided for the commissioners is an updated schedule as approved on the 9th. We were in the midst of the discussion when the quorum was lost, as Susan Smith had mentioned in her comments. So provided for you is that calendar. One of our commissioners, Commissioner Orton, did note that one of the meetings is scheduled on Labor Day at this point in time. So I think we just wanted to open it back up for discussion so the commissioners could finish their discussion on the calendar if they chose to keep all the meetings on Mondays and Tuesdays in August and September, if that's your pleasure.
And Vice Chair Zatella, I'll ask you to support the discussion for in person. I'm going to take Commissioner Lang's hand first and then Commissioner Clark.
Okay, since I was one of the people that was not here and privy to this discussion, I will just let everybody know that I did go back and watch the meeting. I saw that it was amended the 10 a.m. I'm assuming the time for the 10 a.m. was amended to accommodate a commissioner because of, personal things, and I'm totally fine with that. There has been some issues brought to my attention that some people have issues with me doing the fair outreach because it was brought up at the meeting and I was not there to be able to talk to you about it. So I just want the commission and the public to know that the fair outreach, in my defense, was done weeks prior to the suggested change. I scheduled those outreach days at the fairs to accommodate with the schedule that we have. The ones that I have contracted with have been very generous in donating not only space, but the time, and not charging us for those spaces to do outreach. So while I understand the frustration that if this is moved back to the Thursday, Friday schedule, that I will be missing some Friday meetings, I hope that the commission will understand that I made a commitment also to these people and these coordinators at the fairs. And I'm not going to back out of that. I feel it's a duty to do. I am hoping that if accommodations were made, we did receive public comment saying, if you do for one, you should do for all, or you don't do for one and not for all. Well, if the time change was made to the 10 a.m. to accommodate a commissioner, I would hope that the same could be done for me. But if not, I understand. We all have our own things and sometimes we have to miss for whatever. I just hope people understand that if it does get switched back, I'm missing to do commission business, which is part of our job, is outreach and education to the public. So I just wanted to make that comment. Whatever the commission decides, it's a group and that's how it will be. But I just want everybody to understand where I'm coming from. These fair things were not scheduled to be malicious just so I could miss commission meetings. They were done way in advance. And that's all I can say. I'm not gonna try and defend it anymore. I just want everybody to be clear of that. So I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, Rhonda, I mean, we all appreciate you going to the fairs and doing this and understand that it was scheduled, and it has to be scheduled far in advance. So we originally moved the dates from the Thursday, Friday to Monday and Tuesday, but unfortunately, we didn't have all the information we needed when we did that. There were a number of days that Cynthia, I believe, brought up after the lunch break that conflicted with us moving things from Monday to Tuesday. And I think there was 3 days. I think it was Labor Day. I think it was one of our vendors' availability, and I think it was Election Day that caused that problem. So that's what really drove the issue of rediscussing it. And not that we were going to miss one commissioner, being you for sure. I mean, it's well appreciated, everything you're doing on the county fairs. And I think it really benefits us as well. But as we were concluding our meeting, I had put a motion forward that because of these conflicts on these 3 days, that it would be beneficial for us to move the the schedule back to the original one where we met Thursdays and Fridays. And I'd like to put that motion forward that that's the approach we take. That we move the schedule from Monday to Tuesday back to Thursday and Friday, knowing well that 1 or 2 or 3 people may not be there. We have that problem every meeting. There's always conflicts with people's schedules. So, and we need to take that into account. So anyways, I'd like to put that motion forward that we take the Monday and Tuesday, so we had moved the schedule to and move it back to Thursday and Friday.
Second.
I have a motion made by Commissioner Clark. Is there a second?
Second, that's Commissioner Witches.
Second made by
Commissioner Kellum, could we clarify with Commissioner Clark? He is just talking about the July and August meetings. Is that correct? So the currently July 19th through August 20th meetings, August 17th meetings, moving those from Monday, Tuesday to Thursday, Friday. Is that what the motion is?
Correct. It didn't have anything to do with September. It was the week of, the dates of the 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th of July, and the dates of August 5th and 6th, 12th and 13th, and 19th and 20th in August. Yes. Not to do anything with changing what we had agreed on the time change in the September schedule. So, yes. Does that clarify it?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any comments in the room? Commissioner Rothorn?
I think the part that's it's the process that I think I want to recognize that there is our staff and our the MICRC staff and the Secretary of State made the proposal, and I'm hoping that that each commissioner gives those, our executive director, frankly, Sue Hammersmith, gives the challenges that we have to that, so that our executive director can, in concert with the other people, actually make these recommendations, because it does feel like it's budgetary, it's efficiency, it's trying to understand, because there is complexity, and we will miss people, but we have to have that quorum. So I'm just sort of acknowledging that there is a process. It was proposed. We have the ultimate say, and we change it to try to accommodate as many commissioners as possible. And I think if we can in the future, rather than, I guess I'm thinking about how if we as commissioners can make sure that we tell Sue essentially what our dates are that we will be missing, I think we may be able to move forward, and because we're going to have to be flexible. This calendar here is going to change too. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothorn. Vice Chair Zatella, are there any more?
I actually have a comment. So I feel like there's an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. And I'm not trying to put Commissioner Lang on the spot, but at the same time, I feel this issue needs to be addressed. And I think one of the primary concerns that the commissioners are having with this outreach is that we are being told that Commissioner Lang cannot attend our meetings in person, yet she has scheduled 7 hours per week of outreach to go to community fairs in person to meet with people. So I think there is a concern on our end and a feeling that there's some inequity and some concerns about that as to why someone can go to a fair and yet not come and sit in our meetings in person and not come to public hearings in person. And then the other concern is yes, we do have a commitment to do outreach. And for the rest of the members of the commission, we are doing that outreach in accordance with the schedule that we have approved, that we have agreed on as a commission. And that outreach is directed and managed by our communications and outreach director. It's not something we're doing on our own as individuals, where we are selecting what we want to do, arranging meetings that are not being publicly noticed, and meeting with people individually as ourselves. So I think there's some concerns with that as well. And I think that needs to be addressed because We do have restrictions in the Constitution on our ability to discuss commission matters with the public outside of writing and outside of a publicly noticed meeting. And I'm concerned that we're going to be, as a commission, potentially running afoul of that because of one member. So that's a concern. And then the third concern is that Commissioner Lang and all of us have a commitment to serve the commission too. And what is more important? Is public outreach more important, or is actually attending commission meetings more important? And I think most of us would say, especially at this point where we're moving on to mapping, that it is important that we have everybody here and that we have people attending our training sessions and that we have people present and able to do these hearings, especially as we move into mapping. We really kind of do need everybody all hands on deck at this point. So I think those are concerns that need to be addressed. I don't think it's just an issue of people felt that perhaps Commissioner Lang, was asking for special treatment. I don't think that's it. I think there's broader underlying issues that are concerning to the commission that need to be addressed. And that is, can you attend in person if you can attend fairs in person? And are you committed to this commission as well and not just committed to outreach?
Thank you, Vice Chair Zatella. I'm not so sure about this order, but I'm going to say Commissioner Lang and then Commissioner Clark.
First off, I'm going to be blunt. My health situation is nobody's business but mine. If I could be there, I would be there, as we have had an in-person meeting where I was there. So what I am physically able to do and not able to do, and the reasons why, is nobody's business. And I want to be very clear about that. We have a certain amount of privacy that we are allowed, and I don't need to share my health conditions with anybody. Second, as far as it goes for the outreach, when I contacted these fairs, I was not lone dogging it, as it may seem. I actually talked to Edward about this. He thought it was a good idea, so I proceeded with it. That's that. And the other thing, I think I have definitely shown my commitment to this commission. I would dare to say that I have put in more hours reviewing stuff and doing my homework than maybe some other ones on this commission. So don't ever question my integrity about this commission or my passion to do work for this commission. I know you and I are vinegar and water. That's fine. We don't have to get along, but don't ever question my integrity. And that's it. I yield back.
I'm going to say something very quickly, and then Commissioner Clark, I'll give you the floor. I think this is a contentious subject because we have a tough job of, as you highlighted, Commissioner Lang, all of our meetings are live, right? And so we can't say, we have this tough job of advocating for the community, advocating for the commission as a whole, but then importantly, advocating for ourselves so we can do the work. And I think what has come up is this kind of crossroads, does not question your integrity, but where does that leave us in terms of routine and structure for the commission as a whole? This is less about Rhonda Lang and Commissioner Rhonda Lang, but more so, how do we establish, as we're moving into a tough job, even with my own schedule, is everyone's schedule, how do we move as a group so that there's a consensus that we're doing the work, we're doing it well, and we're doing it with respect for each other. And I think this is less about a personal thing. Commissioner Eid, I see your hand. There's Commissioner Clark wants to speak, and there are a lot of feelings. I wanted to step in to make sure this is a conversation of respect, of fairness, and also it's productive. Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, I was going to make a comment based on the second item that Rebecca brought up, which is the fairs. A number of months ago, I know that Rhonda had approached Edward regarding this. And the whole issue was getting more outreach to the rural areas. And it was an idea that she came up with the county fairs. She did coordinate it with Edward. I don't know to what degree that they decided on things. And maybe it just didn't get publicly brought to the attention of the commission as much as it should have been. But I know that went on. And personally, I commend Rhonda for doing that. She lives in one of the rural areas. Most of us don't. We live in the urban areas, and we've been taking care of the outreach in the urban areas. And she's taken this approach toward the rural areas, which she knows best. So I wanted to support her on that item, and I'll leave numbers 1 and 3 that Rebecca talked about to discussion with the rest of the commission.
Okay, Commissioner Ede, and then we do have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. That motion was to move the meeting times from the Monday, Tuesday to the Thursday, Friday, pretty much making it the schedule as it was originally suggested to us, only changing the time from 12 p.m. On Thursdays and 9 a.m. on Fridays to 10 a.m. I think we've had enough discussion. I'd like to call for a vote.
Commissioner Kellum, do you want to clarify, but we were just talking about July and August, not changing the time to 10 o'clock. I don't believe that was part of the motion.
Yeah, so what I was going to have General Counsel before Commissioner Ede stated that restate the motion because it does need clarification and it's very long. So General Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. The motion made by Commissioner Clark and seconded by Commissioner Witches is to move the meetings scheduled for Monday and Tuesday back to Thursday and Friday from that occur in July and August. More specifically, the week of July 9th, the dates would be moved from the 19th and the 20th to the 22nd and 23rd. The week of July 26th, the meetings would be moved from the 26th and 27th to the 29th and the 30th. The week of August 2nd, the meetings would be shifted from August 2nd and 3rd to the 5th and the 6th. The week of August 9th, they would be shifted from August 9th and 10th to August 12th and 13th. And lastly, the week of August 16th, the meetings would be shifted from the 16th and the 17th to the 19th and the 20th, Madam Chair.
Thank you, General Counsel. And we're gonna vote. Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify one item. Last week, we did vote to change the time in September on Tuesdays to begin at 10 a.m. So I think that change was already approved. And the motion that I put forward today does not include September. September remains at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, start time.
Right, the General Counsel just clarified that the motion that's on the floor is strictly speaking of the dates that she just outlined.
Correct.
Okay, so Ms. Reinhardt, do you mind a roll call vote for this vote, please?
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Facilitating a roll call vote, excuse me.
Commissioners, please indicate your support of this vote with a yes or no. I will call Commissioner's name in alphabetical order, starting with Cynthia Orton.
Yes.
MC Rothhorn.
Yes.
Rebecca Satella.
Yes.
Janice Villette.
Yes.
Richard Weiss.
Yes.
Dustin Witches.
Yes.
Doug Clark.
Yes.
Juanita Curry.
Can you possibly repeat what we're voting for again? Out of so much talk,
General Counsel, could you restate the motion?
Yes, I would gladly. The motion on the table being voted on currently is to move the meetings from Monday and Tuesday occurring in July and August back to Thursday and Friday. And I'm happy to restate the individual dates if you would like, Commissioner Curry.
Oh, I have the date.
Okay, the dates would be moving from Monday and Tuesday in July and August to Thursday and Friday, specifically the weeks of July 19th, July 26th, weeks of August 2nd, 9th, and 16th only.
Okay. My response would be yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Curry. Anthony Ede,
Yes.
Brittany Kellum,
Yes.
Rhonda Lang,
No.
Steve Wett.
Yes.
By a vote of 11 to 2, or apologies, 11 to 1, the motion carries.
Thank you.
And a
Ms. Rita.
personal,
Thank you, MDOS. Commissioner Witches?
as a point of personal privilege. First, I got two of them actually. First, for the record, I wish to say that I concur with everything that Commissioner Zatella stated earlier. And two, I'm wondering if we can take a break.
Commissioner Witches, of course, we can take a break if you would, if you need a break. Let's see. At this time, commissioners, I get the sense that this probably would be a good time to take a recess. I propose, what do we think that we need? And I'm willing for you to time in 10 minutes or 15?
15.
15, okay. We will take a recess and return at 6:45 p.m.
Madam Chair, can we get a motion for that? Can someone make a motion to recess just to get it?
I move to recess until 6:45. This is Commissioner Zatella.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Is there any debate or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of recess, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We will recess until 6:45. Thank you, commissioners. Commissioners or Michigan Department of State staff, correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like we have 7 people looking like they're about to be seated, but I'm not sure. Maybe 6, maybe I see 6, I'm not sure. Hopefully everyone had a nice recess and did all of the self-care things. I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission back to order at 6:47 p.m. Will Michigan Department of State staff call the roll, please?
Madam Chair, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. All right, let's try this again. Commissioners, please say present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please indicate that you are attending the meeting remotely and disclose where you are attending the meeting remotely from, unless your absence is due to military duty. I'll start with Doug Clark.
Present, and I'm attending the meeting remotely from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Juanita Curry.
Present.
Anthony Eid.
Present.
Brittany Callum.
Present and attending remotely from Detroit, Michigan.
Rhonda Lang.
Present, attending remotely from Reed City, Michigan.
Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner. Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
12 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt. We'll now resume the agenda where we left off, which was moving on to new business agenda item 7A. Without objection, I would like to ask Executive Director Hammersmith to share about the document assuring quorums and notification of absence. And hearing no objection, please proceed, Ms. Hammersmith.
Thank you, Commissioner Callum. I provided for the commissioners a document called Assuring Quorums and Notification of Absences. As a memorandum, there is certainly a cost to our meetings. The MDOS is paying for closed captioning, the American Sign Language, and 3 languages and interpretation. That costs about $900 an hour for that service they're providing to the commission.
Point of
Dustin?
order, I think we skipped 7B, updated resolutions for the 2021-16 Michigan mapping decisions made during the June 30th commission meeting under unfinished business.
Chair Kellum, do you want me to go back to that?
Yes, Executive Director Hammersmith, you can. My apologies. That was my oversight.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Witches. Yes, updated resolutions 2021.06.06 to 16 Regarding the mapping decisions that were made on June 30th were provided to the commission. They will also be posted on our website if they're not already posted. These are decisions that have already been made. What this does is just document those decisions. There's no need for a motion, but I wanted to make sure that we had those resolutions in a place that was easy to find so people could know the foundational work that has been done with the maps and the resolutions that the commissioners created to make sure that how that work begins. Any questions on that?
Commissioner Kellum, I'm not seeing any in the room.
Thank you, Vice Chair Zatella. And I don't have any from Commissioner Clark or Commissioner Lang. General Counsel has a hand raised. General Counsel, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. And just as Executive Director Hammersmith noted, these are for the mapping process decisions. That just to clarify for the public that no mapping decisions were made. These are the process and those foundational issues that were discussed at a prior meeting. Thank you.
Okay, with no further discussion, Sue, we appreciate your update and you getting those resolutions changed for us at this time. We'll move on to new business agenda item 7A. And without objection, I would like to ask Executive Director Hammersmith to share the document assuring quorums and notification of absence. Executive Director Hammersmith, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Kellum. So this document for assuring quorums and notification of absences has been provided. It's a memorandum. It provides information about if you're going to be absent, if you're eligible to attend remotely, how to give that notification, and then if you will arrive late or leave early. If you can let staff know, MDOS staff and MICRC, according to the list there. And then if you have an emergency and need to leave a meeting, if you could notify Sarah Reinhardt, who's the analyst at MDOS, that would be appreciated. And as a courtesy, if you put it in the chat, that would be helpful so people are aware. But there is certainly a cost to meetings. There's a cost to holding the meetings. There's a cost for AV for the meetings, and of course, everybody's time and travel expenses too. So we want to make sure that if we do hold a meeting, that we have a quorum, that we can maintain a quorum. And I'm hoping that this general request actually of the commission can be met so we can move forward and be assured that we will have a quorum in future meetings. Questions, comments?
I have Commissioner Clark with a question, and just quickly, thank you again for creating this document so that we have a shared understanding as a commission and trying to accommodate everyone's busy and ever-changing schedule. So Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, I'd like to put a motion forward that we accept this as our standard procedure for addressing quorums and notification of absences.
Just a point of clarification, it wasn't an action item. We don't have to have a motion on it. It's more of a shared understanding, but I yield to the commission.
Commissioner Kellum, Commissioner Curry has her hand raised in the room.
Okay.
I would just like to ask Sue Hammersmith, may I have a copy of the quorum, please? The paper, please, for the absentees.
And General Counsel.
I apologize, wrong button. No, I was just noting Commissioner Lang has her hand up. Certainly the commission can adopt the memo as their policy if they like. I would just note for the record that the actual remote and hybrid meeting guidelines and procedures would control over that one paragraph summary that's contained in the memorandum. So if the commission would like to adopt the absence portion and if the commission would like to adopt the memorandum as their policy moving forward, just to note for the record that the previously adopted remote and hybrid meeting policy would control, and it's far more detailed than the information that's in front of the commission in the document outlined by Director Hammersmith. Thank you.
Thank you, General Counsel. Commissioner Lang.
I was going to kind of say what she was saying about the other policy. We have it already set and voted on, where it was the Secretary of State, Sarah, and redistricting at Michigan.gov. Some of the other points on it, this is saying that we should notify like 3-4 different people. I think it would be more prudent and more efficient if we had one set person. If somebody's going to miss, if there was one specific contact person that we contact, that way there's no miscommunication amongst people. If you send it to the executive director or to the executive assistant, if by some chance they don't, you see what I'm saying? If they don't say it to each other, then I think it would be just more efficient if we have one particular person. And as far as the emergency leave, the private message on the private chat, I agree with, but I think it should specifically go to Sarah and not everybody on the panelist, because I'm sure our ASL and everybody else doesn't need to know that. And rather than trying to do everybody individually. So just my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. So we do, unless Doug would like to.
Commissioner Kellum, we have a hand in the room. Commissioner Witches, or I'm sorry. Yeah, Commissioner Witches has his hand raised.
Okay. Commissioner Witches.
I will second Doug's motion.
Well, that answers that part of my question, what I was going to say. So we have a first made by a motion made by Commissioner Clark, a second made by Commissioner Witches. Is there any discussion or debate on the actual motion? Okay, hearing none.
Commissioner Rothorn has his hand raised.
Commissioner Rothorn.
Thank you. I'm just highlighting I guess the concern is what our general counsel highlighted already, that we may be making a policy that may be duplicative. And I think, Commissioner Lang also said the same thing. Maybe we want to take the attendance piece out. And I know that's, I don't want to make two policies that may conflict with each other. I don't know that we're being more efficient when we do that.
General Counsel.
What I would recommend that the commission consider is even just a motion to amend and strike out the remote meeting part of it. That way there'd be no confusion, that the guidelines that were already adopted would control in that situation. And then that would leave the paragraph that is noted if you are going to be absent, and then the paragraph if you will if you will arrive late or leave early, and lastly, if you have an emergency. That way there'd be no confusion over the remote meeting or hybrid meeting policy. So that would be an appropriate action to consider.
Commissioner Kellum.
Yes.
I am happy to make that motion if you would allow it. This is Commissioner
Yes.
Zatella.
Mm-hmm.
So I would make a motion to amend the assuring quorums and notifications of absences memo to strike out the paragraph that begins with the header, if you are eligible to attend remotely, to strike out that paragraph in the entirety and leave the remainder of the memo the same.
Second. Motion to amend made by Commissioner Zatella, second made by Commissioner Lett. Is there any debate or discussion on the motion to amend? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay.
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 And either General Counsel or Michigan Department of State staff, can you give me a count of the vote?
I believe the count was 9 in favor and 2 not in favor. Vice Chair Satella, can you confirm if that was the count?
I can confirm that Commissioner Witchus and Commissioner Lang both voted nay and everybody else voted yay.
Thank you. The ayes have it and the motion to amend carries. Returning to the main motion and for purposes of clarification in the vote, General Counsel, can you restate the main motion, please?
The main motion on the table would be a motion to accept as standard procedure the assuring quorums and notifications of absences memo as policy with the paragraph, if you are eligible to attend remotely, struck in its entirety.
Thank you, General Counsel. All those in favor of the motion as read or as stated, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay.
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 The ayes have it. The motion carries. Moving now to new business agenda item 7B. Without objection, we'll have Executive Director Hammersmith to provide 3 financial reports. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Director Hammersmith.
Thank you again, Chair Kellum. Provided for the commission are financial procedures that are currently in effect for the commission and the staff. Mostly, I wanted the commissioners to be aware of the process that takes place when our invoices are paid and when we consider those invoices. So for example, if it happens to be one of our communication and outreach contracts that person works with Edward Woods, then I would always have Edward look at those invoices before I would approve them for payment. This also happens in the case of our general counsel when she's working with Bruce Adelson from Federal Compliance, that any invoices that he would send to the commission, she would approve before I would pay any of those expenses. A lot of these are policies that are already have been adopted. I just wanted you mostly to be aware, if you want to adopt these as official financial procedures, you certainly may. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sue. We appreciate your work on this. Vice Chair Zatella, I have a hand raised, Commissioner Clark, and then you can let me know if there's someone in person.
I will.
Commissioner Clark, you have the floor. Commissioner Clark, you have the floor.
I'm sorry. Sue, one of the things we had previously done was for invoice approvals, we had 2 individuals. I think they were Brittany and Rebecca. I'd have to go back and look at the responsibility matrix. I didn't see that on your chart.
And the area, they are in the chart almost down to the bottom, but under payroll and expense reimbursement.
Correct.
Under approve the executive director's payroll and reimbursement for expenses, the chair and the vice chair actually have to make that approval. I cannot approve anything for myself. Correct. Other expenses, according to our policy, that are in our budget that have already been approved by the commission, then I can make payment for those expenses.
Yeah, I agree. Is that the point that I raised on that sheet? I may have missed it.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Thank you, Sue, for clarifying that. Any other questions, comments?
Commissioner Rothorn has a comment.
Executive Director. Sorry. Do you need us to make this policy, or can this just help us understand it? Would you prefer that we take action on this? Would this help the staff if we did that, or can we just leave it as informational?
I don't know that it necessarily helps the staff. It documents though the process that's being taken. So I think in some respects, that's why I created a resolution to document that this is the process that we're following.
I'll move that we accept the resolution as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Rothorn, second made by Commissioner Witches. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing no discussion or debate on the motion, all those in favor of adopting the financial procedures as official procedures, resolution 2021.7.2, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries, and that financial procedure is adopted. As a clarification, just in our Sue's previous communication, she's outlining these reports as information purposes only. Just as clarification does not mean that we cannot still vote and adopt them, but don't feel obligated to make a motion, commissioners. Just putting that out there. Director Hammersmith, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Kellum. One of the things that is required in our procurement policy is for contracts that are $5,000 and under. The executive director can sign for those contracts. However, I'm obligated to make a report to the commission on those expenses. So I want to note that I provided the tailored planning contract summary for you for that contract. The total amount spent was $4,970 for the hours she gave us. We also did reimburse expenses in the amount of $977.79. So that contract has been fulfilled, and we thank Kristen for her service to us. And if I may, I will move right into the notice of emergency procurement, if that's okay, Chair Kellum?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, moving right along. You have received notification of emergency procurement for AV services. Because of the timing when the meetings were scheduled, we did not have adequate time to make previous arrangements and get a vote from the commission. So for example, last week in Lansing, the AV contractors did not even have access to the building until the day before the meeting. So they had no way of knowing exactly what would be needed, what the layout was. And again, with the contract for this facility, that was just negotiated a couple days ago. So we're very fortunate that Chase Creative, who is an offender we've worked with in the past at our public hearings, is available to us and has given us very competitive pricing for these 3 days of meetings that we've had, 2 last week in Lansing and then this meeting today. So if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. I think the notice of emergency procurement detailed what happened, why it happened, and both those invoices are provided for the approval of the commission.
Thank you, Sue. I see a question, a hand. Is that Commissioner Eid or Commissioner Witches?
Witches. Commissioner Witches.
Okay.
I'll just make a motion to approve resolution 2021-7.3.
Seconded by Commissioner Zatella.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Witches, second by Commissioner Zatella. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting resolution 2021.7.3, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Thank you, Sue, for your diligence, and thank you for providing us good information about what is happening with our procedures, finances, all of those things. Moving on to new business agenda item 7C. Without objection, I would like to ask our Communications and Outreach Director, Edward Woods III, to provide an update. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Chairperson Kellum. This will be brief. Just want to share with you that we do have our packages in. With regards to going out and doing things, we have our table banners. If you haven't seen it yet, we have a sample out front. With regards to the table banner, in addition to table banner, we have flyer holders, business cards. We made copies of the MICRC participation that you all received in an email, and we also have pins available as well. So just want to reiterate that these packages are available to everyone. Commissioner Lang has one, and then so far we have Commissioner MC Rothhorn and Commissioner Cynthia Orton, who has also requested them, and they will be available through Sarah Martinez. So if you have an event or something that you're going, if you can just alert Sarah, we can do it. It is cost prohibitive to mail these things, so we would like to take them out once a week and then just associate that with our weekly meetings, if you can bring them back for other people to use. So if you would like one, would like to share with you, it'll be basically you'll keep it for a week and then bring it back unless you have another engagement. But want to make sure that, and reiterate that it's available to all commissioners with regards to that, and appreciate the outreach efforts. I want to also thank the commissioners because there's been an uptick in interview requests, presentations. I'm seeing presentations actually coming through now. This week, I know Commissioner Orton did one in school crafts with the bricklayers that she's doing. And so I just want to thank you. Commissioner Rothhorn and I were in Grand Rapids on Tuesday in terms of meetings. We want to make sure that we leave no stone unturned in increasing awareness and engagement in the process. And just really want to thank each and every one of you, because all of you have been willing to go out. I'm looking at you, Commissioner Lett, Commissioner Weiss, Commissioner Zatella, Commissioner Witches, Commissioner Villette, Commissioner Eade, and Commissioner Curry, Commissioner Clark, Commissioner Lang. Just want to say thank you, and also Commissioner Wagner in her absence. So we have a lot more to do as things come up. People want updates and information. So just wanted to share that with you. On another note, I do want to share with you with regards to the Good Fruit contract that we have seen some duplicate videos that others have produced. So we're going to reduce our time with them. They'll be finishing up a commercial for our second public hearing. And then they will be also doing a vignette in different languages so people can hear in their native tongue with regards to the redistricting process. And then that will conclude that particular contract as well. So just want to inform the commission with regards to that. And I'll be back to you once we have a better idea of our budget with regards to some of the gaps that we discussed at our 6-month evaluation and how we need to fulfill those from a financial standpoint, both this fiscal year as well as next fiscal year. Thank you so much for your time. If there's any questions, Commissioner Kellum, I can take them at this time.
Thank you, Edward. I'd just like to extend warm gratitude to you and whoever was in charge of putting together these packets to make sure that we have not just any old outreach, but good outreach. I know that I can't see that piece of paper up close, but I like that it looks concise and it's easy to read in terms of disseminating information to those that are still learning and curious and interacting with the MICRC. So huge thank you to you and to your team that works effortlessly, but also very, very well to work very hard. Commissioner Clark, I saw you had a hand raised.
And I had a question for Edward, but we'll deal with it later.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Clark, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you weren't able to take any questions.
No, he can take questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted to comment on the direction you took with Good Fruit. I think it's the appropriate thing to do to limit what they're going to do. As you know from our conversations, I've been unhappy with the time it takes them to produce a product and get the product out the door. So I think that what you've done with them is the correct thing to do, and that we limit our business with them. So I appreciate that, Edward.
Vice Chair Zatella, it doesn't look like we have any questions, but I don't want to assume anything on your end.
No one has their hand up here.
Okay. All right, commissioners. If we don't have any other discussion, concerns, questions for Mr. Edward Woods III, we thank him again for that update, and we look forward to you keeping us abreast and keeping us on our toes and how to communicate and outreach with the community, because we thoroughly enjoy it. Next on our agenda is future agenda items. And I will ask Executive Director Hammersmith to provide information on future meetings and agenda items if there is no objection. Hearing no objection, please proceed, Director Hammersmith.
Thank you, Chair Kellum. Coming up next week then, we will have to make another emergency procurement, I assume, for AV, because we don't have a location for the meeting because we just set the date. So that's going to make our schedule tight again. Eventually, we hope to actually get bids for AV for the rest of our fiscal year. But we will be working on that. Next week, then on Thursday, I hope to get budget information for June 30 from the Legislative Services Bureau that pays our invoices, so I can provide a budget report to you. Also, we've invited Dr. Petering from the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, who has a computer algorithm that he utilizes, and he's actually plugged the 7 criteria from the Michigan Constitution in to give us a demonstration on how that could work for the commission. So it's going to be a very interesting presentation. Stay tuned on that. Assuming that Election Data Services is still available on Friday for that meeting, I think a lot of that meeting will be working with them on starting to create regions in the state that we would start the mapping with. We would look at alternative data sets that might be utilized in the interim till we have legacy data and census data. So in learning about those data sets, what's in the American Community Survey, what we can get through the ESRI data, et cetera. And then I'm hoping that he will help us with a mapping exercise where we can begin to look at possibly one county, such as Washtenaw County or Oakland County, and actually start some mapping practice to get commissioners ready to do the mapping that that you will be interested in doing. So in the very near future, as our public comment this evening said, let's get rolling here. So we're going to get rolling now that the public hearings are over. The commission can begin mapping. So we'll you will be able to start with what is available to work with. Also, several of the commissioners have approached me about staff personal time off and vacation and having a future discussion on that. So that will be happening at some point in the future.
Thank you, Executive Director Sue Hammersmith.
Commissioner Kellum, I'm sorry to interrupt. Commissioner Rothorn has his hand raised.
Okay. I was just thinking. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Rothorn, and then Commissioner Clark.
Thanks, Commissioner Kellum. I just wanted to acknowledge that I think what Executive Director Hammersmith just said about the PTO and vacation for me is an important piece to recognize that there's a long-term strategy that we need to engage here. That I'm worried about burnout, frankly, about our staff and frankly us.
Or us too. Sorry, I
Yeah,
interrupted.
yours too. Yeah. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it's not just about vacation. So I guess this is also for the public to understand that self-care and how we can make sure that we do expedite, exactly as the public said here today, that we expedite things, but that we don't burn out by the end and be a frazzled mess, whether that's our staff or the commissioners. I won't say or, I'll say both, that we both need to understand how we do that, and that autonomy, or that somehow that we each have different levels of need, and vacation may be one thing, but it may be other, like maybe we need more staff or. So I'm hoping that is just clarified, not just vacation and PTO. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rothorn. Judging by how I just chimed in, I'm passionate about that as well. Commissioner Clark, please go ahead.
Yeah, I support what MC said 100%. I think it's a necessary conversation. What I would like to do is add one agenda item for Thursday, if we could. could we get an update, Sue, on when we're going to get the software installed on our machines or access to the website in the interim, so that we can do some practice on our own?
Absolutely. I've been engaged in several meetings between the state and all that's needed for security and for loading the software on commissioner laptops. We have another meeting tomorrow morning, so I'm hopeful that we're getting close to the goal in sight.
Anything else for Sue? All right, commissioners, moving on to announcements. Are there any announcements for the good of the order or staff?
Commissioner Kellum, Edward Woods has his hand raised.
Please proceed, Communications and Outreach Director.
Thank you. We're going to try to take a group photo on the 29th of July, now that we have a date. So we just want to put that out there for a group photo. We've had a lot of requests from the media. If you're not going to be there, then I guess we won't be doing it because we need everyone there. But that's the date that I've been trying to work with as many people as possible. Commissioner Rothorn, is there a challenge?
That's the one day that I need to take vacation. But I can.
Will you be there the 30th?
Yes.
All right, well then let's see if we can get the 30th on schedule. And I know that someone can remind me of the time that that meeting ends on the 30th.
3 p.m.
3, okay, so we will try to make sure that we get that there. So however you would like to dress or present yourselves on that particular day, we will be doing that, and I'll continue to work with those remotely as well as those who are not here today to make sure that date works. Otherwise, I'll be forced to do a collage, which is really not a group picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Are there any other announcements?
All right, well, if we have to find another day, I think it's a conflict with a particular commissioner. So let me just see if I can look at the first week in August. Let's just look at that. Is there a conflict in anyone's schedule on that particular Thursday or Friday? So I can have some flexibility to get the photographer in. I'm looking all the way on the other end.
Possibly, but I'll talk to you about that offline.
All right. But if I have 2 days to work with, that would be great. Thank you very much for your time.
Commissioner E, did you have a comment, or was that related to the photo date?
No, I have an announcement.
Okay, Commissioner Kellum, we have Commissioner Eid with an announcement.
Okay, couple things. On Tuesday, I attended a city council meeting, with the city of Allen Park. Went very well. It was about maybe like 20 or so people in attendance, and I presented our commission presentation to them and the people that were there. They were very appreciative and said that they're going to be submitting a map of their community of interest to our website. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I just want everyone to know that last week at our Thursday and Friday meetings, we had some very, very important information that was given to all of us. I went ahead and watched those meetings a second time, specifically the presentations from our vendors and the question and answer session that we had with our vendors, because there really was a lot of information given to us. And I recommend that all of us go through and listen to them again due to the gravity of the work that they presented to us. It really was informative, and I really believe it's going to help us come together and do our jobs. And then one last thing, I just want everyone to be aware that we're getting quite a lot of public comments on our website. And I've been going through and, going through them and trying to get ideas here and there now that we can draw maps. And I think it's been a useful exercise. So I'd recommend that, this week sometime we all take a look at the website to get some ideas on, where to go forward when we do get that software on our computers and can begin this work.
Thank you, Commissioner Ede. Commissioners, any other announcements?
No, I see none.
Okay. Hearing any other announcements from commissioners or staff, and being that all items on the agenda are completed and the commission has no further business, a motion to adjourn is in order. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches. May I have a second?
Second by Commissioner Orton.
Second made by Commissioner Orton. All in favor of adjournment, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes prevail. The meeting is adjourned at 7:27 p.m. And thank you so much for attending. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to provide public commentary. And thank you for the warm welcome, Benton Harbor.